Hi, this is David McCann for WebTNG. In this video, I'm going to look at Brizy, a website builder for WordPress. Brizy promises a lot: to be easy to use, to be able to easily create stunning websites, and to provide the advanced features that site builders expect in a top-class page builder. When Brizy was first released, it created a lot of buzz because of the innovative way it approached page building. And it created a lot of buzz again with the introduction of Brizy Cloud. However, Brizy has been dogged by long-standing bugs which turned off a lot of people. Recently, version 2 was released, and the pro version of Brizy has just come out of beta. Many people wonder what they can expect from Brizy now, and wonder how Brizy stacks up against other popular options. When Brizy first launched in the spring of 2018, there was a lot of excitement. Brizy had a number of innovative features, and it is easy to use. Also, unlike Beaver Builder Lite, the free version of Brizy is very generous and provides functionality that is often only found in pro versions. This makes it more like Elementor, which also has a generous free version. The beta of Brizy Pro launched in August of 2018 and was offered as a lifetime early adopter deal. It was thought that Brizy Pro would come out of beta in several months. But to allay any fears of buying into a beta, the Brizy team structured the refund period so that it extended 30 days after Brizy Pro came out of beta, whatever date that was. The Brizy team was on a roll. Every few weeks they introduced new features, often with innovations or easier ways to get things done. For basic site building, Brizy was working great. However, advanced users noticed that features that worked when they were introduced had broken, and that bugs, which are normal when a new feature is released, were not getting fixed. Some people also had trouble getting support. There was some frustration that it wasn't ready. In the spring of 2019, the Brizy team launched a new product, Brizy Cloud. In another stroke of genius, the team brought the same user interface and builder that was so innovative and easy to use to a hosted cloud platform. As you can imagine, there was again a huge interest in Brizy. Some users who had wished that existing bugs would be fixed felt that the Brizy team was overextended. It was explained that there are separate teams, one for WordPress and one for Cloud. But be that as it may, while new features were being introduced, bugs were not being addressed. It was not until spring of this year that we started to see major bug fixes. About the same time, there have also been a large number of videos added on the YouTube channel, and Brizy support has been very active. Then, after a long beta, version 2 of Brizy Pro was released on July 30th, 2020. It seems that the Brizy team had gotten their magic back, and that with the launch of version 2, everything had finally come together. There was never a version 1 of Pro, but the team felt that there had been so many features that it seemed more like a version 2 than a version 1. So it ended up that 2 years after its initial release, Brizy Pro finally came out of beta. Not only were a number of bugs fixed, but also some more amazing features were added. Now people wonder, what is Brizy 2? What can users expect? What are these innovative features I keep mentioning, and what are the limitations, if any? There is a free version of Brizy available in the WordPress plugin directory, and a pro version available from the Brizy website. Brizy also has a cloud option, which is a hosted solution with no WordPress installed, but that uses the same UI and builder as the WordPress plugin. Brizy WordPress and Brizy Cloud are two separate products, though they can work together. Here's the Brizy Builder interface for WordPress. Notice that everything is tucked out of the way so that you can focus on your content. Here is the Brizy Builder user interface for Brizy Cloud. Brizy WordPress, Brizy Cloud. Brizy WordPress, Brizy Cloud. The only difference is that in Brizy WordPress, you have this icon here for page options, and in Brizy Cloud, you have this gear icon here for settings. The two platforms, WordPress and Cloud, share the same builder. This is an innovation, and I don't know of any other WordPress builders with an almost identical cloud option. Although I'm focusing on Brizy WordPress, there are some aspects of Brizy Cloud that are relevant. When you purchase an annual subscription for Brizy WordPress, It includes access to Brizy Cloud and the hosting of domains as long as your subscription is active. When you purchase Brizy Lifetime, you get unlimited cloud access and 2 years of domain hosting. What does that mean? Well, with Brizy Cloud, you can host sites, landing pages, and pop-ups using the URL that Brizy generates for you. For example, https coconut123.brizy site. This type of URL is fine for hosting landing pages and pop-ups, and it's included with the annual Brizy WordPress subscription or for life with your Brizy WordPress Lifetime purchase. However, many people will want a domain URL like https www.mysite.com, and that is what I mean by domain hosting. If you have an active Brizy WordPress subscription, are in the first 2 years of your lifetime plan, or just purchase a cloud plan, then you also have the ability to host domains in Brizy Cloud. Either way, with a generated URL or your own domain, there's a lot of value with Brizy Cloud, and that's something people should take into account when they evaluate the product. Also, with Brizy 2, there are now options to sync Brizy Cloud and your WordPress sites. This is for things like reusing templates on more than one site. There's the ability to export pages and sites from Brizy Cloud to static HTML for hosting without security and update worries of WordPress. These are innovative features. Brizy comes with a large number of elements. You access those here with this plus sign in a circle. Brizy elements are like Beaver Builder modules or Elementor widgets. Brizy Free comes with 18 content elements, a row and column element, and a sidebar and shortcode element. Here I have Brizy Pro installed, and that comes with 28 elements. All of these, the row and column elements, some social network elements for Facebook, Twitter, and for comments, as well as some theme builder elements, such as sidebar, shortcode posts, breadcrumbs, post title, post excerpt, post content, post info, or post meta, and post navigation. When you're making an archive using the theme builder, there's also an archive element. And when you have WooCommerce installed, there are also 4 elements for WooCommerce. Brizy Cloud, where I am now, has a different set of elements as appropriate for a cloud-hosted version of the builder. So back in Brizy WordPress, I'm going to start out by adding an empty column, single column, and then here I'm going to add a row, and when you do that you get 2 columns. So this gray is the row and the blue are the columns. Now you can see that you can resize the columns like this. You can do that with Elementor and Beaver Builder also. You can click and drag and resize the columns. But look at this. Here I can change the padding through drag and drop. That's not something that's available with either Elementor or Beaver Builder. This is another Brizy innovation. With Beaver Builder and Elementor, you adjust those kinds of things by entering numbers into a text box. When you click on this blue circle plus button, it opens the design library. Brizy comes with 2 design kits, 1 and 2. These were the designs that were included in the initial launch of Brizy. And this is the second kit, which I guess is more modern looking. There's a light version of all these blocks and a dark version. And they're organized by categories to make it easy to search. Here we have the layouts, which include, see, it shows us stacking to indicate there are multiple pages included. And so these are site templates where you have a home page, an about page, a contact us page, and so on. This is where your saved layouts are, and you can sync to Brizy Cloud. And this is where your global blocks are. If you save a block as global, what that means is that if you edit it in one place, those changes are reflected everywhere you've used the block. So to start, I'm going to add an image here. And when you click on the image element, it opens a context menu here. Here are image options, where we can choose our image or use dynamic data from the database. We can zoom on it, we can open in a light box, and we can apply image filters. This is where we have the border and shadow options for the image and for when it's active. These are the link options. You can set a link for the image or use dynamic data. You can open a new tab. You can make it nofollow. You can set the link on the block, or you can set clicking on the image to trigger a pop-up. And you would create your pop-up starting right here, or you have the option for a link to a file. This is where you toggle through left, right, and center alignment. These are some settings for width and height. And when you click More Settings, you bring out a styling panel on the right, which is common to most Brizy elements. Here you can adjust the padding and margins, the corners, and if you want to, you can position as absolute or fixed. And then here are advanced options where you can disable showing it on desktop, you can set a z-index, you can add a custom CSS ID or class, you can add custom attributes, you can add custom CSS, you can add entrance animations, and there are quite a few here that you can choose from. And you can set a time variable for the hover transition. This is where you would duplicate the image, and this is where you would delete the element. So to start out with, I want to add an image from the library. Let's go with this one. Okay, so here's this image from the library. Notice this blue dot here. You can use this to set the central focus of the image and then zoom in on it. This is another innovative feature of Brizy. Now over here, I'm going to add a text element. And a text element is what you use for headings and for text. Okay, I'm going to set the color. And now I'm going to go here and I'm going to make it a heading 2. And then I'll center it. Okay, so there's the text item. Now I'm going to add some content. And notice that with Brizy, with the heading and the text content, I can just click into it and start typing. When you use Beaver Builder, you get a small text box to type your content into. With Elementor, you can type in place, but it's a little bit awkward. It feels much more natural with Brizy. And I think this is another innovation. And now I'll add a button. See where you get the thicker line there, shows you where you can insert or you can drop something. When you hover over a block, you get this block settings menu here. Here you can make it global, or you can make it a slider, and we'll come back and look at that. Here you can set background options, color options, and if you click on the heart, then that's how you save it to be a saved block. And the first time you do that, you're prompted to log into Brizy Cloud. You use the same username or email and password that you use for Brizy WordPress on the Brizy WordPress site to access the cloud features. Okay, I entered my username and password. So it saved it, but what happened? Well, remember when we go into the library, there's a place where you can see your saved blocks. Here's my saved block. There's the option here to disconnect and to sync. So I'm going to try syncing it to the cloud. It says that it's synced. So here I am back on Brizy Cloud. Let's go look at the saved blocks. See it pulled down the block from Brizy WordPress. So let's go and insert a block. Let's say this one. Okay, let's go and save it. Check that it's saved. Okay. So here we are on Brizy Cloud. Here's our block from WordPress, and here's our block from Cloud. Now let's go to the Brizy Builder in the WordPress site and see if we can pull down that Cloud template when we sync. And there it is. Great, so we have two-way syncing, which is another Brizy innovative feature. Okay, I'm going to use this little feature here to clear the layout and start over again. I'll add a block, maybe this one. Okay, so this is, you can reorder and drag and drop or delete blocks. This paintbrush is where you go into the styling panel. Now, you see that it has different style sets here, and it's got magazine currently applied. I think there are, I don't know, 10 or 12 of them. And with each style set, there's a color palette and there are typography options. There's an option for paragraph, subtitle, above title, heading 1, 2, 3, and so on. And when you click on one, then you have an option to change or choose your font and the size and the weight and the line height and letter spacing, and you can vary it by device size. Now these settings are global and they're linked. What that means is if you make a change here, it's reflected everywhere those linked colors or typography options are used on your site. For example, if I switch from the magazine theme to, say, the Craftwise theme, you can see that the color palette changed, the typography changed, and that changed on the block as well. So the entire block library is designed to work with the global color and typography options. This is another Brizy innovation. Elementor is just adding global styles and link styles now. Another feature that Brizy has is if you go here to the block settings and here to the bolt icon, there's the option to change any block into a slider. Just by doing that, you see that we have the navigation arrows and navigation dots. And the way Brizy makes a slider is that it makes another copy of the block, and that copy becomes the second block. So here I am on the second page. Okay, so let's change the image to something else. And I'll change the background color of the block, let's say to this pink. Okay, so here is the second slide. Here is the first slide. And now if I want to add another slide, I go up here and click duplicate. It would duplicate the second slide, and I could do the same thing and change that. I don't know that this is innovative, but it's certainly easy to use. So the next thing I'm going to show you is a mega menu. I'm going to add a menu block. And I have a menu on the site with just one link. Now, when you click on a menu, you get a toggle option to turn it into a mega menu. And when you turn that on, you get a canvas here where you can create your mega menu using the Brizy Builder in place. So I'm going to add some columns here. I'll add a third column by duplicating that one. So I'll add an image, and let's choose one of these book cover images because it's a book's website. And let's make the width 50% and the height 100%. And I'll do the same again. Okay, now I can add a link here to go to the page for those books and everything. Let's change the background color, maybe to some sort of light blue, and then add a heading here. I'll center it. I'll change the color. And I'll change this to be, say, a heading 2. Okay, so there's my mega menu. I created it in place using the Brizy Builder. Now, Elementor doesn't have a mega menu widget in Elementor Core. There are some third-party add-ons which add it. But typically what you do there is that you create a template and then add a template using those third-party widgets. You don't typically create your mega menu in place. And Beaver Builder has the built-in functionality where you can have a text-based mega menu, but not something like this. I think you can create it using, again, the technique of making your layout and saving it as a template and then adding that. but it's not built into Beaver Builder. So this is a new feature of Brizy 2.0. It's another example of how Brizy has an innovative approach to doing things in place and making it easy. Another thing I wanted to point out, which I see as a feature, is that Brizy has a very extensive video library on YouTube. And some of the nice things about these videos is that they're short. They show just how to do one thing, and it walks you through step by step very simply so that you can follow along. Okay, there are a lot of videos here. They've been adding them steadily. And this is a great resource for people who are using Brizy. I know of two areas where the Brizy team could do some more work. The first area is in the theme builder. Here, for example, I'm working on the archive template for books. And the issue is that we don't see any previews. There's no live data. So we're working with these placeholders. And what this means is that it takes longer to get the template to look the way that you want it because you have to adjust it in the builder, go into a preview, and come back and look at it in the builder again. It still works, but it's just not as smooth as it could be. The second area that I'm aware of is in the Brizy pop-up builder. The pop-up builder is easy to use and really nice, but it has some limitations. For example, here's a pop-up, and we'd like it to show on every page of the site, okay? Maybe it's a sign up for a newsletter or something. When you go into the display conditions, and you say, when will it trigger? Well, you want it to trigger on page load, on every page when it loads. After 20 seconds, show the pop-up. And you'd think that means that that's going to happen on every page. But the limitation is that it only happens currently on pages created using the Brizy builder. So that's another limitation, something I think they're planning to address, but it's not quite working the way you'd expect right now. So in conclusion, I obviously haven't gone into a thorough walkthrough of all the features of Brizy WordPress, but I think I've provided a good insight into the strengths and limitations. There are a ton of good, innovative features that make Brizy stand out. It's an easy-to-use and full-featured website builder. I'm happy to see the team doing a good job with support and bug fixes. In fact, it seems to me that with Brizy 2, the product now realizes the vision that the team had for it 2 years ago. They kind of jumped around, adding new features, creating the cloud version, going back, adding new features, and then finally they fixed the bugs and polished it up and brought it all together. Those who believed in the product and supported the team have been rewarded with an easy-to-use and innovative builder. I think Brizy is a product that the developers can be proud of, and I think that with Brizy 2, the juice is worth the squeeze. So that's my look at Brizy 2.0. There's a text version of the video available on the WebTNG website, along with other resources, reviews, and walkthroughs. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for watching.